Welcome to the committee, Mr. Minister. We're here at the same time. So, Minister, in 2010, you singled out one of my colleagues, Olivia Chow, who was our critic at the time, for her remarkable diligence, working with you and the government to amend Bill C-11 to limit the number of fraudulent applications and reduce the backlog in Canada's immigration system. Ms. Chow said at the time that Canada will finally get a refugee reform package that is both fast and fair. It seemed like everyone was happy. We all put a little water in our wine and, to quote you, found a very reasonable compromise. In fact, you described it as nothing short of a miracle. The compromises made the government legislation acceptable. These included establishing a panel of experts to determine safe countries, allowing access to appeal for designated nationals and those from designated safe countries, and greater timelines to start the appeal process. C-31 repeals almost all of those compromises, and it would seem you have gone back on your word, Minister. So the question is, what changed, Minister? Why is your government using your majority to undo this reasonable compromise that everyone agreed was working?
First of all, I'd like to congratulate Ms. Sims on her appointment as the critic for immigration and citizenship for the official opposition, and look forward to working with her and all of you colleagues. I am proud of the compromise that we achieved in C-11 in the last Parliament. I think it was a huge improvement over the status quo. However, we have now seen, since the adoption of that legislation, a continued and growing wave of unfounded asylum claims coming from democratic countries, which represent a fundamental threat to the integrity of our system. Since that time, we've seen a growing escalation in the number of unfounded asylum claims coming from Europe. When I say unfounded, it's the claimants themselves who indicate that by not showing up for their hearings in large measure. And so we came to the conclusion that we needed fast and flexible tools to be able to address large waves of unfounded claims from such jurisdictions. And that's why we revisited some of the provisions in C-11. This bill, C-31, maintains the basic architecture of C-31. It does maintain the Refugee Appeal Division, which adds for additional procedural safeguard for the vast majority of failed asylum claimants. It does maintain a faster system, and I think the system in C-31 is faster and fairer. The main difference is a streamlined appeals process for people coming from countries which do not normally produce refugees, and that is normal. That reflects the normal practice in other liberal democratic countries with respect to their asylum systems.
Thank you, Minister. I would just like to comment that it doesn't mean that just because you're a democratic country that those countries don't have human rights violations, and we've got examples of that from around the world. But let me get back to this. It was only 2 years ago, 2009, maybe 3 now, that the Auditor General slammed your government for bringing in huge legislative change to the immigration system without understanding the consequences. We're seeing a similar pattern here. We just had adopted a balanced bill last Parliament, not that long ago, and now we're debating changes to the rules yet again. Every time these changes fail to get results, where's the plan? Does your department even understand the consequences of these changes?